Welcome. We're really glad you're here. Around our family, the door is usually open, the table's usually full, and somehow there's always room for one more.
This podcast is about making room for faith, for family, for laughter, for the messy and the meaningful. It's about inviting you into our family culture and letting you experience the joy and chaos of a big family right alongside us.
We're moms, daughters, sisters, and friends.
All in different seasons of life, but we're all gathered around the same table.
So pull up a chair, take a deep breath, and stay a while, because love multiplies when we make room, and there is always one more seat at the table. Hello, and welcome back to the Room for More podcast. I am Noelle, as always, joined here with my sister and my mom today.
Hi, it's Felicity.
And Patricia.
Woo! We are missing Faith and Grace today, but that's okay. Not all of us can be here every week. As you've seen by the past few weeks, I think it's been like 3 weeks since we've released an episode, which is not great. I'm sorry. I feel like we let you guys down, kind of. We did mention, I think in our last podcast, that we're doing every other week now, purely because it is so hard for us to find time where all of us have an open hour in our schedule and can sit down and have conversations like this, which is literally the only reason why it's just 3 of us today and not all 5, because it's like almost impossible. So yeah, I hope you guys will bear with us as we try to figure out like a good rhythm for the podcast. My hope is that like eventually we can kind of get to a point where we can go back to weekly podcasts, but just in this season, it is not really feasible. So we kind of need some time to like record, I think, a bunch of episodes beforehand. Don't you guys think?
Yeah, I think.
And then that way we can
find like hours to do that.
Yeah, we need like a retreat. Like we need to do like a whole podcast weekend retreat where we just like spend time together and like record together for a couple hours. That's the only way I think we're going to be able to get it done.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Especially with the summer. For those people that are watching, I'm in my softball attire post softball tournament and in the car, but I'm here with windblown hair and everything.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You had a little lipstick in the car, so that helped.
Yeah. Make me look alive at least.
You look great. I was going to say too, Felicity and I just got off of a retreat weekend that we did with Faith and Grace, like all as sisters. We did the Healing the Whole Person retreat in Lincoln, Nebraska. If anybody has heard of Healing the Whole Person, or if you haven't, it's with Sister Miriam James Heideland, who does the Abiding Together podcast, and Dr. Bob Schutz and his brother Bart Schutz. And it's like a healing weekend retreat. It was so amazing, but also so exhausting to go through all of it. Felicity and I were just talking about like how we needed a day to rest and recover after it.
Yeah, it was so beautiful and powerful. And I feel like we all walked away with so much, but also there's like so much continuous healing that happens after the retreat. So yeah, but like Noelle said, just like walking away from it, we feel full, but also like completely depleted. So
I don't know if you guys knew or not that I went like 5 years ago to that same one.
Yeah.
Except for Sister Miriam wasn't there. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it was 5 years ago. It was the last time it was in Lincoln.
Yeah, I remember
what was your
you
experience like. I had no idea you went.
It was very much the same, where it was covered a lot and went really deep. And it was beautiful but exhausting. And I don't remember specifics, but I remember it being powerful.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got a text, so I need to. Well, distracted me. Okay, well, yeah, we're feeling tired, but also like missing the podcast. So we were committed to give you an episode this week because we love the podcast and we know you do too. We've had several people like come up to us in real life that would be like, oh my gosh, I'm like missing your podcast. Why are you not doing it every week again? And yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry.
So we're getting back on.
We're back on the bandwagon. So with that being said, today we're going to talk about hormones. This is something we've wanted to talk about for a really long time because it has impacted all of our lives, of course, as women, but also just like individually, we've all had kind of different but similar experiences with lack of certain hormones in our bodies and like supplementing with different like natural hormone therapies, I guess. So yeah, it's a huge topic that we're not going to cover all today, but we kind of just wanted to touch on like different stages of your hormone journey and when you first learn about them. And some people don't even know about hormones at all, and that's totally okay. Like it's just something that like I feel like there needs to be more awareness around, and I think we all are on that same page. So we kind of just wanted to dive into that.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to say, I feel like I wish, and I know we've talked about this, I wish that girls at a younger age were better educated about hormones and like what's to come, but also that like younger men were too, so that they could understand what women are going through throughout their life. Because it's really hard when you're living in a world where people don't understand it. And there's just so much education that has to happen to get to that point.
Absolutely. I agree.
No, I totally agree. I feel like there's a huge sector of the medical field that is like completely missing a slice of the pie of the whole picture of the human body. Of like you go into like a women's health clinic that's just like a typical, like doctor's office. And even if you ask your doctor about these things, a lot of times they won't even know what the answer is because they're not trained on like hormone. I mean, I think probably the basic hormones and like I'm not a doctor, so I really don't know exactly what they're taught. So if you're a doctor and you're like, no, we actually know this, I'm sorry. But I feel like usually when I go into my doctor and I bring up like natural family planning or like just doing things in more of like a holistic way, that's not necessarily their approach. Like they are taught to kind of like band-aid the solution or
Mhm.
band-aid fix whatever the problem is and like just slap a pill on it and then like that'll help.
Just treat the symptoms and not
Treat
looking
the
further.
symptoms.
Yeah.
And not get to the root cause of it. And I think that's one thing that I've had to learn in a roundabout way is that if you don't get to the root cause of it, it's just going to keep coming up. And that's one thing that I think there's a real lack of research in is women's health because there's even still things that I deal with that like no doctors know how to help me with,
Yep.
And Felicity, I think you've had similar experiences too.
Yeah, I mean, it took me, well, if we go way back to when I first started my period, I mean, I had excruciating, painful cramps every month, and Faith did too, and Mom did too for a long portion of her life. But just like having no idea what was going on and why that was happening, and just kind of being told like it was normal and there's not much you can do about it unless you go on birth control. And that was like kind of the only option is like birth control or good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like I lived through so many years of these terribly painful cramps, having no answers. And it was like the majority of doctors that you go to are going to treat the symptoms like that. And that's what's so frustrating is it's like there's a reason that I'm in so much pain and I would like to understand the reason rather than just treating the symptoms with something like birth control that is even more hormone dysregulating. So
Well,
yeah.
I even think that like mom, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can speak to this, but your generation was pretty much taught that cramps were just a normal part of your cycle. Because
Absolutely.
that's what you told us like, oh, it's normal. And I never had cramps, but Faith and Felicity, I mean, maybe I shouldn't talk about Faith's experience with her being here, but like your Felicity, your experience was like super intense cramps and mom's yours was too. And so when mine wasn't, then I was like, wait, is something wrong with my reproductive system? But in reality, it's like, no, that's not actually normal to have cramps. And like so many people don't know that.
Yeah.
From what I knew, it was, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say from what I have learned, it's normal to have like mild cramping, but not to the point that like you're not functional in your daily life anymore. And yeah, like we grew up thinking that that was normal and so did everybody around us. And it was really until now, the last 5 years or so that we've done our own research to learn more and to learn that that's not normal and there's something else going on in your body.
For sure.
Sorry, Mom, go ahead.
Well, I think it's just there's such a wide range of what they would call PMS or PMDD, I think it's called. I don't remember what they have all those different acronyms, but I think that it covers such a huge umbrella of things and they just say it's all normal. But there's no degree of normal. Like you said, slight cramps might be a thing, but when it just says cramps are normal, then I don't know that my cramps are different than the next person's, or I don't know if, I have a longer or heavier period, there's just nobody telling you what is quote unquote normal. So,
Yeah. So you just think whatever you're dealing with is like, oh, you got to suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah.
right.
And that is something that, I mean, I even had friends in high school who would have to skip school because their period was so painful. They like literally could not go to school. And
That was
right.
me.
yeah. And like
Like I
you
would
think it's
call and have to
normal.
leave. Yeah. You don't, well, and I have one other friend that also had like excruciating, painful cramps. Most of my other friends had more mild. They weren't as bad. But it was like so like to like call in sick to like cheer practice or something, and they're like, you can come because of your cramps, like you're fine. And it's like, well, you obviously have different level of pain than I do, because no, I cannot. I feel like I can't get out of a curled up ball on the floor. Like this is must be a different, that's what I'm saying, like what mom said, like your level of cramping can be completely different from somebody else's. And to be told that that's normal when you're in that much pain for 3 days every month, it's like as you get older, it becomes obvious that like that was not normal. There was something else going on, and it's so frustrating that nobody helped me figure that out.
It was a breakthrough for me when I was probably about 14 or 15 and having migraines and like throwing up and everything monthly, that was also hormonally related. And it wasn't until like probably 10 years later after my first or second child that a doctor told me that I could actually go on progesterone to help with the migraines and things like that. Like I had no idea that I needed that kind of support.
Yeah. And it's like, if you don't, I mean, that's amazing that your doctor told you that, because I don't think that's the case for hardly anyone. Like,
Mm-mm.
your doctor wouldn't just like propose that solution typically.
Yeah, you have to find a specific doctor. And I know mom's doctor and my doctor now that I'm working with are both trained in the Creighton model of NFP, which is very helpful because I think with the Creighton model, they obviously learn, I don't know how much hormonal like background they have, but at least progesterone they understand.
Yeah.
Because that was the solution that my doctor gave me too, is like, well, there's probably something off about your progesterone, and that does help a lot. And that's another crazy thing that every woman in our family has struggled with, low progesterone.
Totally. That's got to be something like generationally related or like
Genetic.
Yeah, like it's something like genetic. But there's so little research on women's health that it's like it's kind of frustrating. I mean, not kind of, it's very frustrating that you have to be like your own advocate because nobody is really going to help you. Like you have to search out the answers yourself. And unless you go to somebody that's trained in it, then it's like you really do have to advocate for your health. And it's sad as women that like we can't just have that be like, instead of it being a exception to the rule, have it be a norm that like your health holistically is what matters most, rather than just getting you on a prescription drug and like kind of medicating you and calling it good.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
just having a thought. I wonder if we could do maybe a part 2 of this and invite Dr. Skoke on, because he is a
That'd be awesome.
naprotechnologist, a trained physician with Creighton Naprotechnology, and he would have some really good insights. I mean, that whole program and the pioneer of that, Dr. Hilgers, came way before his time, and he's been studying women's health and hormones for years. Like this is not anything new as far as that's concerned. So I think it would really be helpful to have somebody that is trained and can talk a little bit more on that.
Yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
really cool. I think also he delivered all of us, right? Or not all. Me, Faith, Grace, and Felicity.
All but
Everybody but
Sienna. Yeah.
Oh, poor Sienna.
I
She's
know.
in the background. What? I hope we caught that
How
on the audio.
unfair. I was gonna see if you wanted to share more about like your very tough hormonal time in college.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up because that is where I struggled. So, like I mentioned, I had like 0 problems with my period. My cycle has always been so normal, like 28 to 30 days on the dot. Like honestly, perfect. And I hate saying that because I know that that's not the norm for like most people. Or it is normal, but it's not a lot of people's story. So I didn't have any problems with my period, like in high school, starting my period. I did start really late because I was a runner, and so like I started it in, like, was it like 8th grade maybe? And then it was like, oh, false alarm, went away and came back like when I was a junior in high school. So that was pretty late compared to some, like some girls will start in like 5th grade. And
That was
I
me.
was, yeah. And I was like a late bloomer for whatever reason. So I didn't have struggles at all then. Actually, it was kind of nice to not have a period for so long because it was like I didn't have to deal with any of the symptoms. But then when I went to college, I think it just threw my hormones into overdrive. Being a part of a big family is amazing. And how tight knit our family is amazing. However, when I went to college, that was like a super hard transition for me because it was like my identity was in our family and I didn't know who I was outside of that. Like I didn't know who I was as an individual. Like as Noelle, I was like a Hernscher kid. I was like the oldest of the Hernscher family, you know? And so when I was by myself, like walking around a college campus and nobody knew me as like the oldest kid of this big family that was like responsible and whatever, I was like, who am I? Like I didn't know who I was. And I think it caused me to go into kind of a period of self-discovery, but also it was really, really hard. My body definitely like reacted to that like shock. It was a shock. Like there's no other way to describe it other than my body literally was in shock. And yeah, I had some like hard friendships freshman year that just didn't work out. And I felt very alone during freshman year. And it was a struggle to like get on my own 2 feet and kind of find my path. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had never dated anyone. And I think Grace and Faith both had boyfriends at the time. So I was like, oh, well, they're younger than me and they started dating. And like, what's my path? Like, I just didn't feel like I had a path really. So that caused me to just have a hormonal freak out. I honestly don't really know what else happened besides that. Like it was just I think my adrenals got fatigued because I was so in like overdrive the whole time that like my body just completely like burnt out. And so I started to get a lot of acne like on my jawline right here and I started to get some like on my neck and I'd never had that before. And I was like, what is happening? Like, why am I getting these like deep cystic like pimples? And it just started to get worse and worse and worse. And I got to a point like sophomore year where it was like so bad. It was like all over my face. Like I have pictures of it. I was so embarrassed. We were in the Holy Land and I had a full face of makeup on top of my like acne. And some guy came up to me and was like, you need my mud scrub because this helped my son who had as horrible skin as you do. And I was like,
Thanks.
thank you. So he really I was like, "Thank you for acknowledging it," because honestly, I think I knew it was bad, but, like, I didn't wanna acknowledge it because that would almost be more painful than just ignoring it. So that was an interesting part of the story, but I ended up, like, going to get hormone health help because I went to dermatologist after dermatologist, and they would prescribe birth control, which I didn't wanna get on because I knew that it had other harmful effects to your body, and this was kind of the start of people being a little skeptical about birth control, like, people that are our age. I didn't wanna do birth control, and so I got on, like, spironolactone, which is a blood pressure reducer medication. However, it has a side effect of, like, clearing your skin. So that worked really well for a little bit, but I have low blood pressure to begin with, and so it made me, like, really loopy and, like, I couldn't drive for a long time because whenever I would drive, I would feel like I was gonna pass out, and I felt like I was gonna pass out, like, a lot. So I needed to get off of that, but that worked really well for my skin. So I got off of that, and then I was like, "Well, what could be causing this?" I'm going to all the dermatologists and they're just prescribing me like topical ointments that aren't working or this medication that's not working. And I don't want to do birth control. I don't want to do Accutane because that is a super harsh drug. I like remember looking up like YouTube videos about people that had been through it and they were like, you know, half the time it doesn't even work. Like you have to go through multiple rounds of it. So I didn't want to do that. So I kind of got to this place where I was like Googling things and researching and mom just got home. And yeah, I got to this place where I was like, I need to find something else. And I don't remember if mom suggested it to me or who, but I ended up going to a hormone testing, like a pharmacy that did like hormone testing. And I did progesterone testing, and my progesterone was so low, and my cortisol levels were so high that it was literally like my body had just depleted like all of my hormones, and my cortisol levels were up here. So it was like completely out of whack.
Uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, it was really, really tough. It was a hard time because I didn't feel beautiful because I had so much acne all over my face. I didn't feel like I was myself because of the hormones being imbalanced. I had so much anxiety and I remember I'd be in class and like literally shaking because I was so anxious over nothing because my body was just like so out of whack.
It really impacts your mental health so
It
much
does.
just
Yeah.
by like how you feel internally about yourself based like how
Mhm.
your hormones are making you feel. It's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when I got the hormone testing and those results came back, I was prescribed a topical progesterone. So it was like a progesterone cream that I would rub on the inner part of my thighs so it would like soak it up into my bloodstream. And that it's so crazy because when I put that on, the exact time that I would put that on my inner thighs, my body would just go and like relax.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like my body was screaming at me for progesterone. And when I gave it to it, it was like, thank you. Like, this is exactly what I needed. And so that was really great. And then because that worked so well, then we decided to get me on an oral progesterone. And I took that for years until my skin was kind of back to normal and I felt like my hormones were back to normal. Went off of it. And then I just started taking it again after my miscarriage because I found out through the mirror using the Mira, and I've shared this before, but using the Mira monitor, I found out that I was actually progesterone deficient again. So I'm like, I'm just gonna take it as a, I don't know, what do you say? Just to be ready in case I were to get pregnant, that like my body would hopefully be able to carry a baby
Yeah.
to term with the help of the progesterone.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
Well,
of
and
that,
don't
I
we
also
all just want optimal hormones in our body regardless? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
yeah,
even
it's
if
so
it's
important for so many
just
things.
rough. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like normal function of your body. And I can tell now,
Mhm.
like, I couldn't put a finger on it then, like what was going on. But looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, and then it wasn't just me that struggled with it. Like, think about like so many other women go
Mm.
through different hormonal challenges like this and not just like progesterone deficiency, but like PCOS and endometriosis and like different like hormonal,
Perimenopause.
like, yeah, like any sort of like sexual health stuff is just like, there just feels like there's not a ton of resources for women.
It's interesting to me because I feel like, now being in my 50s and being perimenopausal, I have been through all of the stages of struggle and all of the stages of frustration about there not being enough help for women or understanding of our health, or even that, the frustration of just knowing that that's never been a priority for anybody to get. I shouldn't say anybody because obviously, like I mentioned, Dr. Hilgers and many other doctors, I'm sure, that have pioneered it, but it has never been like at the front or at, like the helm, so to speak, of medical knowledge or
Yeah.
research. And so it's just frustrating because I've gone through, just all the stages of puberty and then like childbearing and now perimenopausal and then hopefully soon postmenopausal. It's not looking like it's imminent.
She's
It's
meant to have
just
babies her whole life, you guys. She's gonna have like 10 more
well,
kids.
it doesn't mean I can still have babies, but yeah, you just gotta have all the other fun effects. But it's interesting that I think it's come a long ways, but it still has so far to go. I
Yeah,
guess that's my point.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it takes us advocating for ourselves and other women advocating for themselves to kind of get a head start or like kickstart more medical professionals to look into it more too. Asking
Mhm.
the questions and kind of just like continuing to advocate so that they start to dig into it deeper and want to learn more to help their patients.
Yeah, and like what causes it too.
Yeah.
Because obviously for my situation, it was like I was good for a long time, but it's interesting how my stress levels were what really threw my body out of whack. But like
Yeah.
stress management is not really something that is like talked about as like an essential pillar of your health. And I don't know, I just wish that I would have known more about like how to cope with a situation like that. Cause I kind of felt like I was just thrown to the wolves and I was like, what is happening? I don't know what's going on with my body, you know?
But what comes first? It's like the chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Like, is the anxiety and stress a symptom of some hormonal issue that you're having? Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I've started pinpointing like a week before I actually start my period. It's not even like the day before, 2 days before. My anxiety levels start to go through the roof.
Uh,
Like, it seems like at almost exactly a week, I have like severe anxiety. It starts with that, and then it gets to the point where I am so irritable.
uh-huh.
I can see it, and now I can finally say to myself, this is what's happening. But for years, I would like beat myself up over it too and be like,
Mhm.
why can't I get it together? Why am I
Yeah.
struggling with this level of anxiety? Like heart
Yeah.
palpitations and all the things just from like being so anxious.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I really do think there's a connection.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do
100.
too.
I noticed the same thing, and I actually started taking these, this brand sent me these PMS gummies. It's called Nixit. Have you guys ever heard of Nixit? They
No.
do like the menstrual cup. So instead of for my period, I stopped
yeah.
doing tampons and now I do a menstrual cup. I was so scared to try it, but like it's so much easier because you don't have to always have like buy more tampons and like worry about having that with
You
you. You
change
just
it
have
like
your menstrual cup
once a day, don't
a
you?
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have to boil it, so it's kind of weird, but like if you get over that, it's fine. But anyways, they sent me these PMS gummies that I tried for a month, and it was so crazy because I mean it was like natural things that they had in it. I can't even remember off the top of my head, but my body responded to it so well, and I feel like when I usually have those like PMS symptoms of like irritability and like frustration, anxiety, those kind of things, it like completely leveled me out. But it was just like a supplement. Like it's not like a medicine, it's like an over the counter like gummy thing that you take. So I don't know.
We
I feel
should,
like link those.
yeah, definitely link those in the show notes because I'd be
Yeah.
interested in those for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like to kind of like level you out a little bit more. So you're not like all over the place. Cause I mean, yeah, I'm not, maybe not everybody's body responds to it the way mine did, but I really liked them. Yeah,
Well,
they're,
it's so funny. Sorry, go ahead. I
no,
didn't mean
that's
to
okay.
interrupt.
I was just going to say, I have the thing pulled up now so I can tell you they're really good too. Like it was like having fruit snacks every day and I looked forward to it.
Those are the best
Um,
options.
They're mixed berry dietary supplements. It says PMS gummies designed to ease common PMS symptoms like bloating, breast pain, and cramps, made with herbal supplements, including chasteberry, fennel, and ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is like a new thing, I guess. When I used to work at a baby and kids brand like 5 or 6 years ago, we were like on the forefront of studying ashwagandha, and apparently that's like a huge new supplement that's like really helps with
Interesting.
PMS. So
Huh.
yeah.
I was gonna say we should jump into, since all three of us have gone through pregnancy and postpartum and childbirth, we should jump into kind of like the whirlwind of hormones that comes with that.
Yeah. That's could be a whole podcast in and of
I
itself.
know. We can
Might
just touch on
extend to
it
like 2
lightly
hours.
today. Yes.
Yeah.
We can just kind of start touching on it. But yeah, I feel like for me, obviously, like I had mentioned, I started my period at a very young age and had these terrible cramps. But I never had like any other mental symptoms that I noticed up until the point of like postpartum. So I know we had kind of talked about like our pregnancies and all of that on another podcast, but I feel like pregnancy, obviously you have some like emotional waves, but also like your body is somewhat regulated because you have to have these certain hormone levels to be able to sustain the pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And then postpartum, it just like completely crashes. And your
Yeah.
hormones are like out of control, don't know what to do. And I think that for me, I feel like breastfeeding was like a way that kind of like, I don't know. I'm curious to see, Mom, kind of what you think on this, but I think that breastfeeding was great. I want to do it again for sure. It was awesome. But I do think that I had like a major hormonal crash once I stopped breastfeeding too. So there were like, I think for most women, at least for me, throughout postpartum, I had multiple crashes at different times, like probably like 4 months, 7 months, 10 months, just different times that like your anxiety goes up, comes back, and you're not checked in anymore. Like you're not considered like early postpartum, so your doctor's not asking you those questions. You don't have as much of a community anymore that was there when you first had your baby. And so
Free meals and stuff.
yeah, so like that's a really hard and vulnerable time, especially that first year of like,
That is a new
hey,
one.
yeah, you're like, hey, I still feel awful. And I still have a baby and it's my first time doing this or second time with a toddler or whatever it is. And I still need help and support. Meanwhile, you're like trying to manage your health. That's all over the place. But for me, it was just multiple waves. And then once I stopped breastfeeding, like I said, I had this major crash of like a ton of anxiety, depression coming back, just like what is going on with my body. Obviously, your cycles take forever to get back to how they were. So there's just so many signs of like my hormones are not where they're supposed to be. And for me, that drove me
Get
to,
everything
at that
together.
point, get my hormones tested and figure out what was going on. And it was also my progesterone was low, but it's just
Shocker.
so crazy. Yeah. Yeah, not shocked at all, but it is so crazy that postpartum leads you into such a long I think people say it takes most women like 2 years to really recover or like get back to normal.
By then, I was usually
I know, that's the
getting ready
thing.
to have another baby.
A lot of women are already having another baby or breastfeeding. Like some women are constantly like pregnant or breastfeeding. There's never a
Yeah, so then it's
hormonal
like
break.
you have like an 18-year period of being
Yeah,
postpartum.
literally. It's insane.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, oh, I just thought I was always anxious, but maybe it was just constant fluctuating hormones that I didn't like, people didn't talk about enough. And I was just busy raising my kids and, being told that, yeah, it's going to be a lifelong struggle that you have.
Mhm.
And I mean, it pretty much has been, but
Um,
who knows? Maybe post-menopause, I'll feel better. I don't know.
Well, and
We'll
then the
see.
thing is they tell you like when you have like when your hormones are crazy like this, you need rest and you like don't have the
Ugh.
opportunity to get rest. So it's like,
Wouldn't
well,
that be
good
nice?
luck with that. Yeah,
That's like nails on a chalkboard. Like when
yeah,
you hear somebody scratch a chalkboard, that's how I feel when someone tells me that.
yeah.
I'm like,
You're
I'm
like, well,
sorry, do
that's
you want to
not
come
gonna
watch my kids so I can sleep?
work every
Okay, but
day.
I have to say it is worth prioritizing in terms of like, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I had a baby, I would take a nap and we would all have rest time. And that was very much prioritized in our house. Like, I
Yeah.
have got to
Yeah,
take a nap.
because you knew for
Like,
your own health.
I wouldn't have made it through
Yeah.
like
Mm,
having all those kids if I didn't prioritize it. I
yeah, for
guarantee.
sure. I
Mhm.
can see that even like in different stages of life too. Like right now I work during the kids' nap time because I like prioritizing that. But if I were to get pregnant, then oh my gosh, you need that time to sleep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you are literally like down bad for the entire evening. And I'm like a monster for the bedtime routine then.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Because you want to show up
So
the
tired.
best you can for your family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, there's so much pressure on moms to do
there
all the
really
things
is.
and be all the things and do it smiling and don't ever lose your temper. And, when I put words to all those expectations, it's just unreasonable. Honestly, it really is. Who
Okay,
can do that?
I have an idea for and this like is such a like dystopian thing. I don't think it would ever work, but I have an idea for I would love it if like there would be something that would just tell us our mental load capacity and like percentage of full that it is and be like cuz I sometimes I feel like my mental load is like at 180% and it's like, "Oh, I need to like figure out how to communicate this to my partner so that our
Mhm.
mental loads can be both at the same level rather than me doing all of this and then like being frustrated because my partner is like down here or like and they don't know it, you know? It's just like I just feel like it's hard as women to like conceptualize like all the things that we're doing in a day-to-day basis and like
Yeah.
it just piles up if you're not careful.
Well, and your mental
And then it gets to a point
capacity and your mental capacity when you aren't getting rested when your hormones are a mess is so low as it is
yeah.
that
So you
it's
can't
like
even like
you can't.
communicate to people that you
Yeah.
need help.
Exactly.
That's the
Well,
thing.
and I'm wondering if some women have been modeled that better than you guys were. Like, I wonder if I just like wasn't great at communicating that and like in a healthy way and saying, you know what I mean? And then you just learn that you don't say anything, you just keep doing it and trying to
Mm,
be
I think
resentful
that's
or
just kind of
whatever.
like women in general though. Like
yeah.
it's a learn you have to
Okay.
learn
I'm
with
just,
your
I'm
partner.
taking it on myself thinking, I've never been good at that. So maybe it's something I passed on to you guys.
No, I think that women take so much on naturally and feel like so much of the burden is on them. And you
Mhm.
just have like that mom guilt and want
Yeah.
to be able to provide so much for your family and then end up feeling depleted. So I think it is just like a learned behavior and learned experience with your partner and learning how to communicate the best with your
Yeah.
partner.
Love to hear mom more about like hormones during menopause because I like know
Yeah.
nothing about that and that's seems like so far away that I don't even like have any concept of it. So I would
Mhm.
love to hear from you about
What's the
that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's a big talk among my friends and I because we're all kind of going through it at different
yeah.
stages, different
Mhm.
ages. Even, I mean, there's so much variation in that, just like there is in the first time somebody gets their period. The last time somebody gets their period is very variable in terms of age, too. So you really
Mhm.
can't compare, but there are just so many things like the perimenopause weight gain where you just all of a sudden start putting on weight you try to adjust your lifestyle and the way you eat, and it literally just keeps coming on. I mean,
Doesn't
that is
help.
a common thing that I hear very often from women, and it's most likely insulin resistance. And I think that, obviously insulin's also a hormone that we should talk about. Um,
Mhm.
the whole idea of hormones is so big that it's impossible to encapsulate it into an hour podcast. But
Mhm.
I would say that that's a big thing for women my age. Also, just like the night sweats, which I also experienced like postpartum.
Yeah.
Those are coming
Mhm.
back now um,
Mm. Do you
in
have that stanky
perimenopause.
BO that you have during postpartum?
Sometimes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's just, yeah, I don't know. It
What
just
about the hair
everything accumulates.
loss?
You're just so much more sensitive too, sensitive to like even drinking alcohol. Now it's to
Yeah.
the point where I'm like sending reels to my friends about like what alcohol affects you the least when
Wow.
you drink, like so that you're drinking something clean that doesn't like disrupt too
Yeah.
much your hormones and make you feel terrible the next day. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I'm not talking about drinking excessively. I'm talking about a couple drinks and it just can
Yeah.
really knock you off your feet.
Mhm.
I just wish that there was more, like you said, in the way of just like medical information about this
Mhm.
Like,
that
how do
we
I
could.
care for my body through this stage?
Right, right.
Yeah.
And I think there's getting to be more. Like I have noticed on, like on my For You page and stuff, things will come up like the
Mhm.
alcohol thing. But I don't know, it's fascinating to me that our bodies are so intricate that there's all these different things that are actually going on behind the scenes that we don't understand. And I think it
Yeah.
really speaks to the beauty of the feminine body. And if we could embrace that and realize just how important all of those hormones are and how
Mhm.
amazing it is that the work that God does in our body during all these different seasons,
Mhm.
I think that we would be incredibly amazed. And I think that women would be highly, highly respected.
For
Yeah.
sure. And I think there's a huge difference between suppressing women's hormones and embracing them because you see
Right.
that in birth control and it's like, let's
Mhm.
just like dumb you down so that you don't feel these shifts in the month and then you can be under control. And it's like, no, you're like shutting my body down. And like, actually, a lot of people I know feel terrible on birth control because it does just that. And it's like, that's not good for you either.
Well, and then a
Well,
Like,
lot
and
of
that's
here's the thing.
counterintuitive.
Birth control isn't the worst thing they used to do to women for their hormones postpartum. I was reading a book, and I'm pretty sure it's based on a true story, but it was about how some women were considered insane and
Mhm.
would get lobotomies
Mhm.
when they were postpartum.
And then it
And
would
I believe there was
personality.
a thing known as menopausal hysteria where women were just considered to be insane.
Mhm.
So
How sad.
we've come a long ways,
Yeah, for sure.
but we've got a ways to go.
But doesn't it make you wonder what are the things we're doing today that in 20 years they're gonna look back on and be like, "What were we doing?" You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah. Hopefully they are, 'cause
Yeah.
I really hope that they know a lot more than they do now.
Well,
Yeah,
I
for
And
do.
sure, and I
honestly,
the tide is turning on, like, birth control
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. That's
I
what I
hear
was
a lot
gonna
of
say.
women being like, "I
We're
don't want
moving.
that because I know it's gonna F up my body, and I don't want
Yeah.
that to
Yeah.
happen."
Well, and then when women try to get off of it, they have major issues a lot of times too.
mhm.
Just trying to
Yeah,
re-regulate.
yeah,
And women are listening to their physicians.
yeah,
I know that women they are trying to do what's best for them
sure,
and
yeah.
they're trusting their doctor
Yeah.
to tell them what that is. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's just unfortunately not the best thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I feel like we should touch a little bit on what NFP is too for listeners that don't know what that is.
yeah.
Since we are like saying like, well, birth control can cause a lot of issues, like there has to be another way too.
Mhm.
But yeah, what NFP is, it's called natural family planning. And that's what all of us women in our family use. And it's just a way to naturally track your cycles and then also use while you're either trying to conceive or trying to avoid conceiving to know exactly where you're at in your cycle. And it's a great way to just be in sync with your body and understand what's happening. I feel like it's helped
Mhm.
me to not only feel more in sync with my body, but also like my partner to understand so much more about me
Mhm.
and for us to be on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's like several different models of it too. Like there's the Creighton model that Felicity mentioned earlier is about like tracking your cervical mucus and the way that like that changes during the month. Is there other there's like
Yeah. Marquette.
do?
Oh,
Dad
okay.
and I used to teach the couple to couple league, which is both it's called symptothermal, right? So it's based on different symptoms that your body has, like the cervical mucus,
Mm-hmm.
and like actually the shape of your cervix or where it's at in
Mm-hmm.
regard to your body. And then also thermal, so meaning your
Yeah.
temperature every morning, which I think is taken care of with your Mira. Is that right? Like, does that
No,
kind of
the
do
Mira,
that? No?
no, the Mira it tests like your pee, and so it tests all the. I
Okay.
don't think it can track your temperature that way, but it does. It does like it's the. Why can't I think of this? What's it called? The method we use, Marquette. That's
Yeah.
what it's called. We use Marquette, so whether it's with Mira or you can do it with the Clear Blue monitor too, which is like the standard way that they practice. But they did come out with a new like Mira is like officially approved for
That's awesome.
North Platte. What? Natural Family
Okay.
Planning. I
Huh.
don't know where that came from. Whoa, I just moved my table. Yeah, so they just got approved, which is awesome because Mira is on like the forefront of a lot of really good women's health research. I've partnered with them several times because I'm just like really passionate about what they're
Yeah.
doing. But yeah, they use the Marquette method, which is basically like you have these little like pee strips that you pee in a cup and then you dip it in there. It's kind of like a pregnancy test, and then you stick it into the monitor and then it'll tell you like if what level of fertility you're at during the month. So like you could be low, high, or peak. And then based on what the Marquette method like tells you, you either like avoid or if you're trying to get pregnant, then like that's the
That's
go
good.
ahead. That's worked really well for us. And honestly, like from what I've read, it's natural family planning is more effective than birth control.
So I think it's important to mention what NFP is not, and
Yeah.
that it's not the rhythm method.
Yeah. Oh
Because
yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
a lot of people will think that it's just you count this many days, these are the days you're fertile, these are the days that you're not. But it's not, it has nothing to do with counting. It's everything
Yeah.
to do with tracking your symptoms along
And
the
your
way, whether that
personal
be
body.
Yeah.
right,
Is why
exactly.
it's so helpful. Like, so we started with Marquette. It wasn't perfect for us, so we decided to change, which is just kind of how NFP goes too. You have to find the best method for you.
Mm-hmm.
But we are doing creatine and then a little bit it's more probably symptothermal because we do track my temperatures too, which you can do now, which is great, like with an Apple Watch or Oura Ring or the Ava bracelet. There's so many different ways. So we do temperatures and cervical mucus. And like you were saying, it's so individualized to your body. So like even postpartum, if you're having like these like 45-day long cycles, you're still able to figure out I ovulated on day like 35. Like I did not ovulate on day 14 like most people do, like with an average cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And that because of that, you can learn like if we are trying to conceive, we're not going to try to conceive by day 14. We're going to try by day 30 or whatever it
35.
is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's just
Which makes
very
it so much
interesting.
easier for people with tricky cycles to like get
Yeah,
pregnant.
exactly. Yeah. I've heard so many success stories of people with like endo or PCOS with NFP once they track their own cycle and they're like, oh, yeah, I wasn't ovulating when I thought. It's actually a different day. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's very, very empowering as a woman
So
to know
empowering.
your cycle. And then also, like you mentioned, Felicity, the communication piece. Like
Mm,
it opens up a different level of communication that I think is vitally important because our sexuality is about so much more than just one single act. And
mhm.
so it's so important to like discuss that with our spouse, you know?
And if we talk about the mental load, you can actually
Yeah.
have your husband do a lot of the tracking for you, right,
Mhm.
Austin? You're gonna do
Mhm.
tracking for me for our Marquette method. He actually doesn't do the tracking for it. But if you do a different method, it's kinda different with Marquette because, like,
Yeah.
all I'm
You're the
doing is,
one.
like, peeing and then putting
Yeah.
it into a monitor. But if you do something like the Creighton method where you have to, like, chart a bunch of stuff, I know couples who have done it where, like, the man is gonna, like, write down all the
Yeah.
information and keep
Charge
track
of
of
that.
the information. The woman is gonna, like the woman that sounded like I said plural. The woman is going to, like, track what's going on in her
Yeah,
body
and,
and
like,
tell the
report that to
man.
her husband.
So,
Yeah, which is a great way to
yeah.
communicate, but then also, like you were saying, Noelle, like, when you are on the same page, your husband can be like, "You just started your period, and I'm aware of that," or, "You're ovulating, and I'm aware
Exactly.
of that." Like, just knowing
Mhm.
where you're at in your cycle and what your needs are, they start to learn your own pattern too with you, and sometimes they
Mhm.
learn it they know it better than you. They know your
Yeah.
behaviors to come more than you. So it's good to have
Oh my
somebody to
gosh.
anticipate that.
The amount of times where I've like come to Austin in tears and been like, I don't know what's wrong. I feel so ugly. It's like nobody likes me. And he's like, you're gonna start your period tomorrow. Like, just give it 24
Yeah.
hours and I promise you're gonna feel good about yourself again.
Well, that's the funny thing that I almost mentioned is, you know how I said a week before? My best friend told me, she was like, the only time you ever act like this is right before you're going to start. So
So even like track
that's
with
not
your
even
best
my
friends.
spouse. That's
Yeah,
just
your
like,
friends even know.
but
We should be all sharing our charts with each other so then we can track when this person
Everybody
is
can
gonna be
know.
pissed off and
Yeah.
when they're not going.
well, and honestly, just to have the support of another woman to say, like, I see you. This is a hard time.
Yeah.
This time of the month, and she doesn't know when my cycle is, but like she could obviously tell that based on the anxiety and things like that that I was sharing with her, that like obviously there was more going on because it wasn't
Yeah.
like my norm. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And to be seen and validated in that, I think almost can only be done by another woman because
Mhm.
another woman's been there. So
Right.
Yeah,
I guess I'm a big advocate for good female friends and relationships, which
absolutely.
you all have built in with each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. And sharing your cycles with each other.
Yeah,
Or syncing up
I
so then
guess.
you're all on the same cycle, then you don't have to
I don't know
share.
if that would ever work. Might not have any friendships.
No, it's just once a month when you guys are feeling good, you get together and then
Oh,
you don't
okay.
talk for the rest of it.
Gotcha.
Uh,
My goodness.
it's too funny.
Well, let's see. What else was on your agenda, Fly?
I think we covered
Covered?
everything. Unless there's anything that anybody is like really wanting to discuss that we missed.
Okay. I think one thing that I would love to do for our next podcast, we're going to try to get Dr. Skog on. I think we can do it. I think he would actually like that. We'll invite him to come on, but even if he can't, it would be nice to just like interview some doctor that knows napro technology. What, Mom?
Dr. Julie Habash.
Oh yeah, she would be great too.
Mhm.
She's like maybe she's listening to this right now because she's in my Instagram community. Well, Instagram community too. But she's great. She's awesome. So we could reach out to a couple different people, but it would be really awesome if you guys would like to leave a question that you want to ask a doctor that knows more of like the natural like hormone women's cycle method. Just like you can ask anonymously too. I wonder if we should like put an anonymous like question box on our stories and then people can go there and like leave a question so like it can be anonymous so then if you're like embarrassed or whatever you don't want it to be like tied back to you, we totally get that, then that way you would feel comfortable. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's
I
great.
think that sounds like a great idea.
All right.
There was somebody else that I was thinking that would be really good too. And if they come back to mind, I'll mention it, but I can't think of who it was.
Well, that's okay, you can still think about it. Yeah,
I'll do that.
this is definitely a larger conversation than what we have had today. And I really would like to dive into more of like postpartum. Have we had a postpartum episode yet? I don't know if we
No,
have.
we just
Have
talked
we?
about like pregnancy, labor, delivery. We didn't get to postpartum.
Yeah, postpartum is so different. So I would love to do that too. So maybe we could do that in the next few episodes. Yeah, I guess do you guys want to just go into favorite things of the week?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
Anybody know what their favorite thing is?
Well, mine is we've been on a gluten-free journey around here, and I know it's probably not a shocker to anybody in our family that we might have a couple more kids that have some gluten intolerances. But since we've been doing that, I found some really great gluten-free foods, and one of them is it's like a chocolate cupcake muffin sort of thing that the girls really liked as a
Um,
treat this weekend. And it's just a boxed, um,
Ooh.
gluten-free, whatever, almost like a cupcake sort of thing. And I
Mhm.
added chocolate chips, but they really liked that. And so I think that's going to be a keeper around here.
Is
Wish
it
I
like
could
Betty
remember the
Crocker?
brand.
I was gonna say, what brand is it?
Let me go look. Hold on.
Dig it out of the trash.
No, I have the second one.
Duncan Hines. What are other ones that could be better goods?
Okay, it is Simple Mills. Very
I love
good.
Simple
that's
Mills.
fun. They have good
Mhm.
Oh,
crackers.
their
Yes, and
crackers
we've
are
tried some of
literally
those.
crack.
They have some chocolate square ones that Trinity loves. They're almost like a graham cracker,
Oh
but
yeah,
they're
yeah.
chocolate, little squares.
Uh-huh.
So good.
Those are good.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, and you guys also found gluten-free Cheez-Its. Have they tried those yet? I'm like jealous
Yes,
that they have those. Do they like
yes,
them?
yes. Sienna is the
The
only
oth-
one I think that's tried them, but
The gluten-free
love
Oreos
those.
are like at least as good, if not better, than the original. So definitely go
Yeah,
for
I
that.
agree.
we got the double stuffed
Yeah,
gluten-free
those are
Oreos
great.
too. You just have to find something
Great.
that'll satisfy that so
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of did because I wanted to see. I mean, we have to pack lunches now and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I
you got to make
need
sure.
to have stuff they can take.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna give you my favorite thing because Adelaide just woke up from her nap, so I'm gonna go grab her after this. But my favorite thing this week is the JJ Heller. Have you guys heard her music on Spotify?
Yes.
She has like lullaby albums that Adelaide and I
Good
listen to
one.
before bed every night, and I absolutely love them. We can link to it in the show notes, but it's like so soothing. And she also has like covers of different like Adele songs or like a lot of it is religious infused, but there's also a section of it that's just like covers of different like popular songs that I love to listen to. So if you're looking for a lullaby album, definitely look that up. I'll be right back.
My favorite thing this week, I think Owen made these really good like lime. Owen, what were those? Those lime drinks you made? Wait, come here and say
Nelly, you see Nelly.
Brazilian empanada? Empanada. But they were so good. They were
What are they?
Brazilian limonada drinks. They're like it's like a lime slushy, but they were so good. You can do a mocktail or not mocktail, but they're really good. Oh, it's not? Oh, okay. Well, whatever. But super good.
It sounds perfect for summer. Very refreshing.
Yes, they were. Faith and Grace came and joined, and they absolutely loved them. We had a
Oh,
great time.
I
But
love
you do have to be
that.
careful. We learned, well, Owen was brought up that if you drink lime in the sun, you can like get chemical burns from it.
I've heard that before from people that were like drinking margaritas in
Yeah, you
Mexico
have
or
to be
something.
super careful. Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna do what we're making room for this week. Does anybody have something off the top of their head?
This week I am making room for some sunshine and maybe some water play. Yeah, I'm
Get the
excited
water
to
table
enjoy
out.
the warm weather. Getting ready for summer.
Yeah. Austin's mowing right now, and it feels so good to hear the noise of the
I
mower
know.
again.
I know. Hook
Yeah.
up.
Through the cold of winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
What are you making room for, Noelle?
What are we making room for? I think coming off the retreat, it was so good for my heart and my soul. I just feel so much more peaceful and more clarity in my life. This week, I am making room for the Holy Spirit. And in the mornings before the day starts, I really want to. We did a lot of like the Come Holy Spirit prayer. And I want to do that every morning because I feel like it's just such a great way to kick off your day. And it helps me to be less self-reliant. Yeah, just a second. Because I just realized like how self-reliant I am and how I need to trust God more in my life. So I'm really gonna make room for that.
That's beautiful. Do you know what you're making room for, Sienna?
Yes.
What are you making room for?
Trying to learn how to do the math that we're learning.
Good
But
for you.
also my dance.
She's
What are
got
you
a
learning in
recital
dance?
coming up soon.
Oh, your recital.
And I have a spring program.
I am making room for being open to chaos because this time of year, as a mom, when you have kids that are in high school, especially, but even grade school, there's just a lot of like extra things on the calendar, whether it's field day or field trip or what else do you have? Kind of your program.
Graduation.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm just making room to like have breaks in the schedule or just not
Mhm.
have much of a schedule.
Making room to let me do whatever I want.
Making room to serve Sienna Dawn.
You like that idea?
Oh, Phoebe.
Thank you guys for joining us this week on the Room for More podcast. We hope you have a fabulous week ahead. And just so you know, I'll be putting that thing on our stories, a question box tonight. So then you guys can ask any questions you want to our guest speaker who we don't know yet, but they will be answering questions for us about all things women's health and wellness. But yeah, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Wait,
Bye.
I love you. Can you say love you?
Love you.
That was today's conversation, and now it's your turn.
Who can you make room for this week? Who might need an invitation, a listening ear, or a seat at your table?
It doesn't have to be perfect, just open.
We'll be back next time, gathered again with stories, faith, and family. Until then,
Pull up a chair and follow us on Instagram at Room for More Podcast. There is always one more seat at the table.